Welcome to Mudville, podcast about baseball and cinema. I'm Brody Staub.
I'm Nolan Rabine.
We hope you enjoy.
Want to take a sip to wet my
Ooh,
whistle?
that was some
so
good.
good.
That was crisp. Very nice. Ooh. Welcome back to the Mudville ASMR episode.
Today we're going to be opening Diet Coke
We're gonna be
cans
opening
for
Coke
an hour.
Introducing to the Mudville podcast and
A
audience, a woman.
For the first time.
Not just any woman, my woman.
Oh my god.
I'm the third
You can-
wheel this
you can-
week.
You can cut that.
I'm probably going to keep it,
cut
to be
that.
honest.
No, cut that. Cut
It's
that.
pretty funny.
Anyway, this is Bryce. Bryce, say hello to
Hey
the
guys.
people.
Hi, Bryce.
Hi.
We should turn her up a little. I can't hear that one.
We should. A little mean.
Yeah.
That's so mean.
Brody
Here,
over here
Hold this
literally
microphone and
silencing
pretend to
women.
be- oh my lord.
Not even 1 minute
Jesus
in.
Christ.
Here we
Okay.
are.
Silencing women.
God, what a week.
Welcome to the podcast. Make sure you...
Yeah, welcome back to Mudville.
It's a
It's
rough
been a
start.
crazy week in Toronto. The
Toronto.
Yankees and
Oh my
the
God.
Blue Jays just finished
3 out
up
of 4,
a
baby.
insane 4-game series.
Very chippy. At least at the gate.
Quite chippy.
Not as much in the back half. But
Before we get into all that,
Yeah.
Brody, have you ever been to Canada?
I have been to Canada, but not a part that anybody sane would assume I've been to. Canada. So when I was very young, we took a cruise to Alaska, which included a few stops in Canada, but namely a train ride on, I forget what it was called. It was like the White Northern Passage train.
Sure.
I forget what it was. The White Passage or something. Either way, it was a train into deep into the Yukon to a town called Caribou Crossing, which was very
You've never
cool.
been to like Montreal or anything?
No,
Like
I've never been to
Toronto?
Montreal. I've never been to Toronto. I've never been to Quebec. I've never been to Vancouver. I've been to Caribou Crossing though, and I had lunch in a covered wagon, and I panned for gold.
What did you eat? Was it like churned butter?
I think just like roasted chicken.
Oh, okay.
Churned
it was
butter
unless it
sounds
was
so
actually
good.
caribou churned butter. Yeah,
They
My
get
God.
their food from the like deli section at the grocery store, but everything else about their life is Amish.
Exactly. Fun thing about that town, actually. So it was actually technically called Carcross, which I only realized later on was short for Caribou Crossing. They shortened it to Carcross, which is really funny
That
because
just sounds like an intersection. to
I
me.
know Carcross. Now that removes all the charm and the fun of Caribou crossing the Yukon, Canada. But anyway, Nolan, have you been to Canada?
Yeah, I was in Toronto
Fucking
now.
casual.
I was in Toronto now almost 4 years ago. It was actually kind of surreal timing because I went there to see a Yankees game that was
funny.
in the
Oh, that's right.
Rogers Center.
Forgot.
Yeah,
Told me
I
about
went
that
to go to the Rogers. I haven't been to too many stadiums. I'd love to see them all, but I've only gotten to like a fraction.
They're
but
the best.
I
That's
have
just
gotten
the best
to
way
that
to
one.
travel. Go to a game.
It absolutely
Like
is.
half. It's so fun.
My mom and stepdad and I went down there a few years ago, and we went to TIFF, and we saw like some of the film
TIFF.
exhibits there, and like a bunch of the books, and they had like this weird art design that had like a bunch of directors' last names, but it was like such arbitrary choice. It felt like because you had like Spielberg and Scorsese and like Claire Denis and either Patty or Barry Jenkins. It's probably Barry. But then it was like Ava DuVernay and like I don't know.
Is that really Duvernay? It's not Duvernay.
Yeah, but
Interesting.
that's a different tier of director to me.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Funny. Bryce, have you
But
been to
yeah,
Canada?
no, it was a lot of fun.
I would like to go to Toronto at some point, but
Yeah, but what I
like
was
a nice
saying, the surreal timing about it was because I went to a baseball game and
Oh, right.
literally I went right as the Toronto Raptors won the NBA Finals.
oh, that's right. I
Yeah,
forgot.
so,
You
like-
told me you were in Toronto for the Celly. Which is
Yeah,
nuts.
well, I mean, I wasn't like part of it at all.
No, but still,
I
being
was
in a
just, like,
city
in
when they
the
win a championship.
hotel-
that's
Yeah,
fun.
I mean, I wish I had gone like out more that night. Like I never did anything like that. Like
Yeah.
I was still like
Joining him with the freaking
Yeah.
championship crowd.
I was
Never
still
seen
like
that.
2 or 3 months away from being able to drink legally, so like
Sure.
I wouldn't be able to go to a bar or anything.
Wait, in
I
Canada?
don't know what the
Canada,
what are the
it's
laws in
18.
Canada?
18.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
Maybe
or
I
actually
Yeah.
Toronto might
Maybe
be
I biffed
19
it.
to discourage.
Yeah,
the
but
reason
either
why
way,
my friends and I went to Montreal.
That makes
oh,
sense.
you went to
when
Montreal.
we were 18
Oh,
Yeah.
shit, okay.
or 19 or
There you go.
Loophole.
How fun was it? Did you enjoy?
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, shocking.
Either way, yeah, I could have like gone out and done something. Like it's not like I was like up in the hotel being like, oh, I want to go out. If only I were 21 or
Right,
anything.
right.
Like, but I didn't. I was just kind of like, whoa, it's kind of cool that like we're here. I think.
Yeah.
Now, if I was there, maybe I would have tried to make more of a memory
An
of
effort,
it, because
yeah.
when is something like that ever going to happen
It's
again?
not easy to be in a city during a championship celebration. So fun
Well,
stuff.
It
Next
was
time.
certainly easy for the New York Yankees to be in Toronto this weekend, as they took
They
3 out of 4
hammered
in
them.
a series. They dominated, but
Niagara
I would have
Falls.
not expected them to.
I've been across Canada into Niagara Falls, and we're going to go back to the Canadian side soon and go to the other side of Niagara
I
Falls.
went there too, and it was like during COVID, so I wasn't allowed to go into Canada.
That's fair,
So
yeah.
sad.
So like we only got to go to the casino part, and like they wouldn't even let us in.
Oh my
So we
God.
kind of just like walked like it was fun though. Like it was a great time, but it was
It's pretty.
significantly hampered by COVID restrictions. So I would definitely like to go back to Niagara Falls.
We accidentally went on the 4th of July.
Oh boy.
It was like the
Oh,
hottest day of the
man.
year and
Yeah.
the most crowded day of the year.
It was kind of brutal.
It was, but it was pretty.
It was pretty. It was fun.
Yeah.
And
I
my
stayed-
grandfather forced Bryce to have a T-shirt. He was like, "I'm gonna buy you a T-shirt. You come with me to Niagara Falls. I'm getting you." He's from Buffalo, by the way, for context.
Sure.
But this is he takes everybody to the falls. It's like
And
it's
he
a very
he,
sweet
he
thing.
always buys him a T-shirt.
Not always.
Just-
no, he
okay.
just loves Bryce.
Oh my God.
He likes Bryce a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Loves Bryce.
Cool.
Which
like, I
who-
really don't
who
need a
doesn't?
shirt, but thanks. Oh,
no,
that's
he was gonna make that happen. He had to make sure that you had a T-shirt.
My
to
dream
remember
came
him
true
by.
that day.
Of course. Also, apologies to the listeners if I sound like literal death. I've had like some allergy / possible cold things happening. It's not COVID, I know that. but
Pollen is
yeah, my throat and nose
bending
and whole
Brody
head
over
system
and
is
showing him
just-
the 50 states.
That's one way to say it for sure.
Yeah.
But
Brody went home twice last week and
3
is allergic
times.
to 3 times
Three
and
times.
is allergic to his cats now.
I am. Well, I used to be used to them, and
I know.
then your cat. Well, the cat that lives in your apartment. Not a stray, your roommate's cat, but the cat that lives in your apartment is hypoallergenic, and my cats are absolutely not, because they were strays that we picked up off the street. So we actually do have strays.
Oh my God.
But they're good now. They're housebroken. They are not hypoallergenic, and I used to be used to them because I lived with them, and then going home for a few days and spending a lot of time in the house with lots of dander and whatnot, etc., has been rough on the old nose. So it's
I love cats,
it's an
though.
adjustment. I also
Like,
love cats.
They're
Gotta
worth
love cats.
sneezing.
It's
It-
true.
Definitely worth it.
Although
We should do a
if
podcast
yeah.
about cats.
Oh, the cat cast.
I would
Yes.
love
Podcasts.
that.
Podcat.
If-
Podcast.
There should. I would be surprised if there wasn't a podcast called the Podcats.
I'm certainly, yeah, no.
There
there's-
has
You
to
should
be.
trademark that now.
I know.
was
I should.
like,
I'm gonna
dude,
sell it to some weird cat people.
couple months ago, like when I was like starting this, I was honestly surprised that there was no podcast called Mudville.
It's such a good
Like,
name.
I was
It works.
like,
Yeah.
I looked and I was like, am I like gonna be stepping on anybody's toes here? But I was
Yeah.
not. So I
it's
stepped.
such a good name for it.
I
Thank you.
recently, after we began, I had an interview with somebody who worked in baseball, and he was like, I told him about the podcast, and he was like, "Oh, Mudville," and I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "That's great," like, right?
Yeah.
We're proud of it. But that was, I think it was before we actually put it up in episode, so I was okay with telling him that it existed, which I'm not sure I would use it as a a leverage point in an interview at this point.
Oh, I would.
But
I think it's fucking sick.
It's,
I mean,
no,
like,
it is. It's sick.
It is
it's just
cool.
like
It's
on
a
a
very
professional
tight-knit
level.
community.
I don't know.
so far.
I don't know the value that I would be able to get out of that, or whether or not it would help or hurt. It's fun that we have it, and it's very fun to do. Of course, we love it.
It's nice, just like in the back pocket.
I just am worried that if I had a job, if my employer found it, I'd get fired. So
I think it helps that you
it's
have your
okay.
blog too.
it's probably fine.
It's not like we're
my blog is
Cumtown.
helpful. That's true. They sold out. They had to be successful with that. But anyway,
They went all in.
Quick baseball note: the Yankees are feeling a lot better than the last time we recorded. Which I think last time we were like distraught.
We were not
about
thrilled.
everything.
They have
Yeah.
won 11 of their last 16 games, including 3 of 4 in Toronto this weekend.
They've done that kind of quietly.
The big
because-
note that
Yeah.
everybody's talking about is Aaron Judge hit a home run in game
shut
one, and then he glanced to the right, and everybody was like crying about it on the Blue Jays
They lost their
side of
mind.
it.
People got really weird about it.
Yeah, and then they started like throwing a fit about third base coaches being
Yeah.
like not within the
box,
parameters of whatever. But
If you're
the-
gonna steal, there's a reason the Astros had to bang trash can. You know how hard it would be to have to look over at the first base coach for every single sign. Also, how is he getting it? Whatever. It's just all fucking stupid.
yeah, like it was a 6-0 game. They were throwing a bum pitcher to.
We looked it up.
Just
He had like 15
Gotta be
innings
frank.
over 8 years.
I looked the guy up once. I was like, okay, he was on the 2015 whoever and the 2019 so he was out of the
up
league
and
for
down,
3 years.
out,
Yeah.
up, down, and out,
Just
and back again.
Out of baseball entirely for a while. And then he threw a slider right middle
Multiple.
to Aaron Judge,
Yeah.
and Judge hit it 462 feet.
Yep.
So
and then he broke the maple leaf the next night to say "shut up." And it
yeah,
worked.
no, I would say that like since their flag is also a leaf, that's
I
like
love it. Love that.
yeah, no, it's like it's
Sorry,
pretty
Canada.
sick. It'd be
We said enough good stuff about you earlier. Now we can.
dude, we
Suck.
have a lot of Canada talk this week because of the movie that we're discussing is
Yeah.
by a Canadian filmmaker.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's, yeah.
we'll get to that in a little bit. But,
Oh, that's true. Wait, we just.
Yeah.
Of course it is.
Of course it is,
Yeah.
dude. It's talking about like Ontario. The
I
whole
know.
time.
Waterloo.
Wait,
Where
is
the
it
vampires hang out.
is it 16 to 8?
It is
Yeah, in this
16 to 8,
Cardinals Dodger
yeah.
game.
Oh my
the
God.
ninth
The
inning.
Cardinals might be back.
Obliterated the Dodgers
16?
tonight.
16
to 8.
runs.
Love
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Wait, that's so many.
Also, the Cardinals lead the league in Nolans, which is fun.
Oh, really?
Yes, they do. They have 2 of them.
And no
Wow.
other team has one.
Yeah, they don't have any, but the Cardinals have them both. They have Nolan Arenado and Nolan Gorman.
Yeah.
And I made a promise if they acquire the third base minor leaguer Nolan Jones from Colorado, I have to
many
like
Nolans
partially
do you
root
have
for
on your
this
team?
team. There's only 3 in the league. They have 2 of them. And then the other guy is in the Rockies farm system. So
Yeah.
I'm saying if they acquire him
Oh.
and they have like the trifecta, I think I'd be like,
They just
You have
need
to
you
be.
on that team.
Exactly.
And then we'd all
Yeah.
set.
All you have to do is show up with a resume with the name on top that says Nolan. Apparently, they'll
They'll
just
take
give you a
you.
job.
I'll just like toss it to
Yeah.
them and they'll be like, hey, man,
Show them your birth certificate.
shortstop. Tommy Edman just
Yeah.
got hurt. So
throw
hey.
me in there, coach.
Yeah, Mason
Ollie.
Wynn's not ready yet.
Man,
Can't be much worse than I don't know.
I have no idea who
I'll
they're
fuck
starting.
up
Anyway.
and I'll blame it on Wilson Contreras.
there you go. Yeah, I guess you could just do that now.
Yeah.
So,
We've got an in-depth discussion of a couple of movies this week,
Yeah.
and also a documentary that Brody and Bryce went to see the other day. So
Bryce and I saw
why don't you tell us about
3
that?
movies this week. We went to the theater 3 times.
That's
you are
crazy.
welcome, industry. That's the most I've been to the theater in a week, probably in my life. So,
It's
not
big-
dead.
It's a big week for the podcast because Brody has endless content to talk about this week.
Endless, as opposed to usually where I'm struggling to think of stuff to say.
I saw 2 of these movies, so we're going to go in depth with those later on. But
Yeah.
why don't you tell us about the documentary that you saw?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it is like, it's a movie. It's in theaters, but it was called It Ain't Over. It was a Yogi Berra documentary. It was great. It was really, really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yogi is such an interesting character because he was turned into a character more than he's respected as a baseball player. And that was kind of like the whole thesis of the film. And it was really good. It was, you don't realize how great of a player he was. He's like the only he's one of 2 hitters I think ever to have like 350 homers and less than 500 strikeouts or something like that. It's like this insane statistic, and like he has 10 rings as a player, 3 more as a manager. Like it's just, and then he had this personality that was very fun and goofy, and that kind of overshadowed his ability because he's also like a goofy looking person. And it opens
He's
up
not
by
even
saying
that
like
goofy looking.
he's not like when he was young he was like a good looking guy, and they were like he looks like a Neanderthal. It's like okay,
that's
well
so
hold on,
mean.
Like, he's just Italian, Jesus. So it was fun, good movie. Yeah, they do this thing
It
where
was
they would
like
contrast
42, but for Italians.
Yeah, basically.
42 is great.
42
It is a
is
good
also
movie.
great. But they would contrast a famous philosopher's quote, like a Plato or a Confucius or something.
Nietzsche or something.
Yeah, or like Einstein or something. Not Nietzsche, but it was like...
Oh, okay.
yeah, like
I named the
those
one
kinds.
wrong philosopher.
Yeah, you
Great.
did. Fuck the other philosophers,
Great.
dude. You know nothing about philosophers.
Yeah, no, that's
You should feel embarrassed.
You should.
Fuck. I'm just gonna leave. You guys can do the podcast together.
Yeah, we'll see you next week. Anyway,
I'm gonna hit the sack. Good night.
I'm going to the
Gross.
Cardinals.
they're going to put him in there at short.
Exactly.
But anyway, they would do this thing where they
Meet
would
me
put
in St. Louis.
they would
Like
put,
the Judy Garland movie. Anyway,
yeah,
keep
sure.
going.
They would put a famous philosopher's quote on the screen, and then they would like contrast it with a yogiism, like the famous yogiisms.
Sure.
And it was like, oh, it's the same concept, but just worded in a more modern or accessible way. And it's just so funny because it's like, he wasn't trying to emulate them. It's just the things that he would say. And it's interesting. He's a very wise person that comes through the film, and it was great. It was very fun. And Bryce, would you like to give your thoughts on the film?
I learned a lot about him. He actually lived in my hometown of Montclair, New Jersey.
Wow.
Right on the other side of town.
Yeah, so...
On Yogi Berra Way.
Yeah, he has a street named after him.
Yeah.
So...
Oh, wait. Actually, that reminds me, but not to cut you off, but there's
What?
the thing where there's the famous Yogi quote, when you come to a fork in the road, take it.
He literally lived on a fork in the road.
He lived on a fork in the road, but it was in such a way that no matter which direction you went, you ended up at his house. So it's like if you take the fork in the road, no matter what, you end up at Yogi's house, and it's like so adorable. But
So
go on.
cute.
So it was like literally true.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's not wrong.
That was directions to his house. That's what he said. But anyway,
Yep,
go
if
on.
you see a fork in the road in Montclair,
Take
you're
it.
at Yogi's.
Yeah, go
Dude,
see Yod.
What if he's got like buried treasure there?
I
And
wonder. I don't know.
Let's go
We should
dig
go
up his
digging.
How many
This guy would
people
be
do you
so
think
weird.
would have like figured that out? Like we could probably go get the treasure.
So, dude, let's go raid.
Let's go get Yogi
Let's go
Berra's
raid.
treasure.
Oh
in-
my God.
in New Jersey.
Sounds
field
like
trip.
a coming of age movie from the 90s.
That'll be the first YouTube video.
Exactly. That's the first episode of Mudville on the road.
On the road.
Mudville on the go.
Oh my God. But yeah, so
Investigation podcast.
Yogi's a local. So
Yeah.
I've met him a couple times, but I didn't realize how like good he was
Yeah.
really, because he's just
Great. How great
yeah,
he was, truly.
he's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's
He's a
just like this
legend.
guy, and he's just so cute. He was like really old, obviously, when I was
Right,
around.
right.
But
Little.
yeah, really,
He's
he's
just
really
a little
little
guy.
old Italian guy,
Yeah.
and
He also
he
sounded
has
like
like
me
13
right now.
World Series rings.
Yeah, 13.
Who
Enough
knew?
for every finger
Who
and then
knew?
some.
He
But
also has a museum, or there's a museum in Montclair about Yogi.
we need to go. That'd
Yeah,
be really
yeah,
fun.
yeah.
Next time we go see your family, we should go.
Yeah, definitely.
But his voice also. So I normally, if you've ever listened to other episodes of the podcast, don't sound like this gravelly. But Yogi did all the time. Like, there's video of him where he's like, I'm not a cartoon character. It's like, this is how you would talk. He's like, hey, boss.
I felt bad for
George,
him.
He
Georgie.
smoked like 8 packs a day.
Yeah, a lot.
Did he really?
Yeah.
I'm just
No,
guessing.
I'm sure.
He smoked a lot when he was young. I mean, they all did. There's pictures of him with cigarettes from the 50s and stuff like that. But, yeah, that's actually the way he's like, hey, can anybody even see? There was a moment where he went up to a podium that was like full of microphones, and he was like too short to be seen. He was like, can anyone even see me? It's like-
Yeah, it was a really good movie, and
It
he
was
learned a
good.
lot, and it was really well done. So
yeah, it was great. Go see
Yeah,
it. It's
go see
really,
it.
it's
Very
very,
nice.
it's fun, and the opening of it is the 2014 or 15 All-Star game, I forget, but Yogi was there, and he was up with his granddaughter in like a booth somewhere, and they rolled out the 4 greatest living baseball players, which is like it's Frank Robinson, Sandy Koufax, Willie Mays, and Johnny Bench. And the opening of it is his granddaughter then looking at him, being like, "Are you dead? Like, why aren't you down there, man?" So it's like it's true. He was just overlooked for the remainder of his life, and he meant so much to the Yankees too. It's interesting.
He also has like way better statistics than any of those guys standing up there that day. So it was really crazy to see
MVPs, more rings.
Yeah,
but like, it's just unbelievable.
It was insane.
More homers and just all that. Or not more homers. Not more homers. Maybe more than Johnny Bench.
Close.
Johnny Bench should not have been up. He's not even the best living catcher. Like anyway, but at that point,
oh well.
Yogi died. Johnny Bench is still kicking.
Yogi has since
he's
passed
kicking
away.
for sure.
Yes,
It's
he died
true.
in 2015.
I need to see that. Yeah,
You'd
absolutely.
love it. It's great.
You know
a
what
lot
I
of
saw
good
this
Yankee
week?
mythos in that movie too. It's
Totally.
great.
I watched the Super Mario Brothers movie this week on
Did
my
you
laptop.
really?
Did you really?
I don't know why. I was just
my
like,
goodness!
I broke my good movies only rule, and I kind of immediately regretted it. Like,
5 seconds
Did you feel
in.
dirty?
no, I just like you know what I did was like I watched it the other night, and it was like super late at night, and I was like, I think that there was a. I think
Why
it was like
did you
game.
watch it?
Dude, I don't know. I don't know. It's just like.
I just can't imagine you sitting down and being like, "I'm in the mood for Mario."
No, I that's the thing is I wasn't in the mood for it at all. But like now that like we're doing like the podcast,
Sure.
I'm trying to start like
Watching
writing like
stuff.
more about stuff. I want to like keep up with like what people are watching. Like
Yeah.
and like if people are watching something that sucks, like I guess sometimes I'll tune into
Sure.
it.
Yeah.
But like, how was it?
It was like if you let a Make-A-Wish kid write
Oh
a
my
movie, but
God.
like it was a really
Oh my
boring
God.
kid. So
Oh
like
no, poor
really
kid!
boring
Oh my
kid.
god! Did
Boring
it have like
Make-A-Wish
Rainbow
kid.
Road in it or something?
Well,
Yes,
yeah,
it
no,
does.
Does it
actually.
really?
I know that. Yeah, it does.
for like 2 minutes. It has like all of the basic
Yeah.
Mario concepts, but like in the plainest possible way, and like doesn't try to do anything like interesting with them. It's like, well, all right, what if we had a movie where there were 2 Italian plumbers that were in Brooklyn, and one of them was into this princess, but there was also a dinosaur that like the princess, and he was trying to defeat Mario, and then Mario
Wait,
had to go
in
with
Brooklyn.
Like,
Wait, are you
Donkey
talking about the
Kong.
one from the 90s?
No,
Or are you talking about the new one?
it's
You're
the
talking about the new one.
The new one, yeah.
It takes place in Brooklyn?
Part of it. It's like
Really?
Yeah, it's really
What?
weird. I don't know.
Are you
I was trying to like look to see if there was like anything like kind of recognizable, and it just
What?
like looks like a suburb, so it's not Brooklyn at all. But
Sure.
Was
That's really
Toad
funny.
in it?
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
Toad.
They
You
had
love Toad.
they got like all of the
So
like
cute.
characters into it, but it was. I don't know. It just felt no different from that, like a basic like IP slop fest kind
Pat
of. They were
Riley-
just like, okay, we gotta hit all this like checklist, like bing, 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 bing. We got Toad, we got Luigi, we got Yoshi. Like they didn't.
We got Yoshi.
We got Yoshi.
We
Kids,
got
come out and see. Come out to the theaters. We got Yoshi.
We have all these characters,
sure.
like the
All your favorites.
I can't
Charlie
believe-
Rose
We got Chris
Magnolia
Pratt.
interview where he
Oh my
had
God.
Paul Thomas Anderson.
Yeah.
He's like, we got Linda Partridge, we got Frank T.J. Mackey, we got all these
Oh
characters.
my
Frank
god! I
T.J.
can't believe
Mackey.
those types of movies like have funding,
We got Yoshi.
and the
Yeah.
budgets are like so high.
So high.
that could be used to
Unfathomably
make
high.
like 3 other movies that are
More
like
than
way
that.
better.
No. Oh my God.
We're about to like enter the age of like toy movies,
About to.
and
The
like
Emoji
the,
movie was the first. Well, the
Mattel-
Lego movie. But
Yeah.
the Lego movie was good.
Did you see the
Actually.
Trolls trailer? The
Oh my god. Oh
new
my
Trolls
God.
trailer we saw in the
Yeah.
previews the other day.
They showed it before the Yogi
looks
movie. It was brutal.
awful.
Oh,
It was
like,
brutal.
brutally
I don't know
awful.
what the plot is. It was awful.
Oh my God, it looks so bad.
That's
So
the kind
bad.
of thing that I'm just not going to watch under any circumstances.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Super
Smart.
Mario, I was like, okay, you know what it was? I was like, I think I kind of like recognized that the point of this was clearly to sell Nintendo
and
games.
kids, yeah.
So let me watch
Get
this
kids to
movie
buy
and
it,
see if
and,
that makes me want to
yeah.
like break out the Switch for the first time in like
Sure.
a while.
Do you
And
have a
It
Switch?
might.
I do, yeah.
Oh, I have one too. I
Oh.
didn't even know that. We all have Switches.
Oh my
Oh, we all
God.
gotta play.
There you go, Nintendo.
Gamer girls.
Sponsor us, Nintendo.
We're like Nintendo Rick from Rick and Morty.
Nintendo, give us free stuff.
Give us free movie tickets and free Switch games.
Yeah,
yeah,
please.
shit. That would be a deal.
Although I haven't played the new, there's a very hot
The
ticket Zelda,
Zelda
game,
game,
yeah,
yeah.
which all of my
Oh,
friends are
my
obsessed
brother's
with.
been playing that actually.
I just can't.
He
I couldn't
loves
get
it.
into the last one. The people are losing their mind over it, and I just can't.
Yeah, everybody's
I'm
really
shocked.
into it. I don't know anything about it.
I don't know. I didn't like the first installment of this era of the series. I just couldn't get into it either.
Yeah, but
and
anyways,
this is
I'm not here to
anyway
talk about
better.
Nintendo.
Moving
The
on.
movie did not
Thanks,
make me want
Mario
to play
Bros.
any of these games.
Yeah.
Like, so there's just an objective failure, I think, on like all. I mean,
Sure.
maybe if a bunch of like 10-year-olds are into it, and like you go and
Yeah, good
like
for them.
like maybe if they were like selling tickets and you go out,
If
and
we
the
were
kids like, hey
12.
Mario, like,
Yeah, if we were 12, we
maybe
would've
if
gone
I
to
was
see it.
10, I would have been into it. But like,
We would have been.
I don't know, just like looking at it, like I don't know, compare it to the Lego movie. Like you said, like the Lego movie is good because like it explores like what does it mean to be the Lego movie.
Right.
Like that's the stupidest
That's
shit I've
true.
ever said on this podcast.
No,
but it's
no,
also
it's true. It's what they were going
Like-
for. It's like we know
Yeah,
this
they
is
were like,
stupid,
what-
but like
what
we're
is
making
the
a
Lego
movie,
movie?
for kids, and then it's like, but you know, like the whole idea of it being like the relationship between a father and his son, and it's just it taps into a lot of very innocent and honest
Yeah,
things.
it's like what a
which
like
I doubt. I
what
know
a
the
very
emoji movie
basic
didn't do.
human themes that
Yeah.
we can like tap in. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, like it's like there was at least like love and
Introspection.
care put
Yeah.
into that movie. Like I'll probably
Yeah.
never watch it again, but like it is what it is.
Right.
This was just how many basic concepts can we fit into 90 minutes and
Oh my
like
God.
just have it be
God.
okay. And at the end, Mario defeats Bowser like it's a
spoilers,
game,
dude.
and
Jesus.
Yeah.
the fuck?
I know. I was like,
Dude.
sorry, yeah,
Not
spoilers for all
cool.
the 10-year-olds.
We're
who
gonna have to
listen
flag this
podcast.
episode.
Spoiler
May contain Mario movie spoilers.
TW.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Content warning.
A lot of good teams are bad right now.
Okay, yes, but a lot of good teams that were playing bad are now playing better.
A few ones like the
Yankees,
Cardinals for
Cardinals.
sure. I'm not even including the Yankees in that
Yeah.
conversation because the Yankees still have a good record. But like going down the list of some of these teams, like why are the Phillies bad? Why are the
Yeah.
Mets bad?
Well, the Phillies were built to not play defense, so that
Sure, but like that's
They
not
were just
going to
built to
affect
hit.
you that much. Like
It shouldn't.
Why are the Cardinals are playing better now, but like their record still sucks. So I think it's fair to say why are the Cardinals bad?
Right.
Why are the Padres bad?
Yeah, that is interesting because they are in fourth place in that division.
Why are the Mariners bad?
Yeah,
And why are
that's
the White
rough.
Sox awful?
The White Sox are so bad, dude.
Like
They're
there
16
are
and 29.
quite a few teams
Oh my god.
that are just underperforming around.
A lot of teams that you
baseball
would
right
expect to
now.
be in first are currently in fourth place, namely the Yankees, the White Sox, the Mariners, and the Padres. And I mean the Phillies are
And
in
the
fourth
Phillies,
too, but
yeah.
that division is the Braves to lose, I think. But this has just been a weird baseball season. I think maybe some stuff going on with the pitching and that the clock might have shifted a lot of guys who, were better last year or what, because like there was a thought that maybe that's why Manoah has been struggling, but even then I don't really buy into that
Manoah's
much,
just
but it's
tubby.
yeah.
That's all. That's
He's
his problem.
He's just Chubbs.
But pitching injuries are way up around
Yeah.
the league, and
Yeah.
they have been for a few years, and they're continuing to go up. And it
Yep.
seems like maybe they might just be up permanently.
I mean, it's so hard to pitch.
And
It's such an effort on your body.
Like I'm not a guy who knows what to do about that. But
you don't have the answers?
No, not quite.
Man,
but it's clear
that's
that
a
like
shame.
Dustin May just this week went down.
Yeah.
We've seen so
Oh,
many
God.
pitchers. Jeffrey Springs having Tommy John, Luis Garcia
Yep.
having Tommy John.
Was it Urquidy, I
Cade
think, too?
Cavalli.
And then, yeah.
Espino
McCullers.
on the Guardians have shoulder surgery.
Yep.
He's out for a while. Not that he had even made his debut.
Yep.
But
There's some belief among Yankee fans that Nestor Cortez is injured, which I
would say
hard to
tonight might have disproved that. But he went 6 strong tonight. To the Blue Jays.
That's fair.
And he gave up 1 run.
That is true. He had a
2
string
runs,
of
actually, sorry.
string of tough starts, but maybe he is over it. The Mets are a mess, also, which I just kind of like to point out whenever I can. But they're just not doing too
The
hot.
Mets are kind of in hell.
They are really, because this is kind of them. I said this last week, I think, or the last time we talked about them at least. Like, this is kind of who they are. This is like, they don't have a lot of serious injuries. Like, I think, Scherzer's like still out, but.
No, he's not. He's back.
Yeah, okay, exactly. So there you go. So this is really pretty much the roster. Like, they don't have like help on the way. Like the Yankees for so long had been able to put off any kind of freaking out.
They did call up one of their top prospects this week, Mark Vientos,
right,
who I believe had knocked in a run last night before, because they did. The Mets
Carrasco is hurt, and Quintana actually.
Yeah,
I forgot.
well, those two
that's not
pitchers are also
necessarily true.
cooked. Like they're hurt.
Quintana might.
No,
he's
I think
34.
Quintana maybe, but Carrasco has absolutely nothing.
Carrasco's
left, I'm
been
telling
done.
you.
Yeah.
But they called up Brett Beatty, of course, a couple of weeks
and
ago.
Diaz. I forgot about
And Diaz is
but
hurt, yeah.
whatever. That doesn't really count anyway.
So they did bring up a couple offensive reinforcements. Francisco Alvarez is getting in there more, and he's starting to pick up a little bit. So
Right.
they do have some bright spots there in Queens, and they squeaked out 2 straight wins against Tampa Bay this week.
I believe, and do not quote me on this, but apparently Gary Sanchez is expected to be called up.
I said that to you on the subway.
You did?
Yeah, I don't think you heard me.
I must have not. I think I had headphones in. But either way, I did not know that. That's hilarious.
Yeah, Gary Sanchez is en route. He's going to be mentoring Francisco Alvarez.
Oh, my goodness.
Who's already not a very good defensive catcher as far as I know. Yeah, oh man.
I don't think they brought him there to mentor. There were better options.
They were like, maybe he'll get hot for a week, and then
they just want to see him hit a 460-foot homer, and that'll be it.
They want to repeat how they felt when Bartolo Colon hit that home run in 2015.
Was he a Met for that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he was.
Man, that was in, I was going to say Safeco. Jeez, no, it was in the Padres, Petco.
Yeah,
the
entire American League East remains ahead of the entire American League Central.
Yep.
So if you look at
That's
that
been holding
standings
for a
page,
bit.
it's just those first 10
It's in
teams
order.
in order.
Yep.
Which is just surreal to look at.
Makes the Royals look a lot rougher.
It certainly does. It also makes, well, no, but it's not going to last. I mean, the Red Sox and Twins are already tied as of the last time I checked, and
Yep.
Sox are starting to lose, and that's going to continue because they had gotten a little bit lucky.
Yep.
And they're a bad team, and the Twins are a better team than the Red Sox. So, grade A analysis from me on
Very
that.
nice. The Rangers are holding serve over the AL West.
The Astros are definitely starting to heat up a little bit, though.
They are. And I think they've won, what was it? I was looking at their last whatever recently. Either way.
They just continue to
they've
win.
been winning.
Despite those pitching injuries. They've got so many guys out. Altuve is coming back this weekend, so it's going to be a very big lineup reinforcement for them.
Yep.
I know Yordan Alvarez hit a huge tank the other night.
That guy's so good.
Yeah, he's arguably the best hitter in baseball.
I think that title still
Arguably.
belongs to Aaron Judge right now.
Yeah, that's why I said arguably.
Well, let's argue about it.
I don't need to argue about it. I think it's argued.
Fight.
Man, Bryce, any thoughts on the baseball?
Price is
That's
only
my
here to
contribution right there.
egg us on.
I want you guys to fight.
Any thoughts on your observations of me when the Yankees are in season?
I just know, last week or 2 weeks ago, you were really upset about it, and this week you seem a little bit more chill, calm.
That's because the
level-headed
Yankees are
about
back
it.
to winning.
Pretty much.
If the Yankees
Wait,
had lost
guys.
like 2 of these games instead of like 1, 3, or 4, Brody would be beside himself right now. Well, like, we
I'd
wouldn't
be over there.
We wouldn't be recording. We wouldn't be recording because he would be crying.
You'd skip this week.
Yeah, it'd be
We kind
brutal.
of did. It is Thursday. We're late.
We
Yeah.
almost did. Yeah, we had to see a couple of the movies that we're here to talk about this week.
Maybe
Guys, I
should
have
we?
a contribution again.
What's that?
Aaron Hicks.
Oh, Aaron Hicks is all the way back.
What's he doing now?
He's
Aaron Hicks has started contributing
Is this
again.
better?
Yeah, he drove in a 2-out RBI tonight in
Yep.
a 3-2 game, or in a 2-1 game. I'm sorry, he made it 3-1. Then the Jays scored again, and then
Aaron Hicks. Aaron Hicks.
we don't need to do all that.
Aaron Hicks.
And then Anthony Volpe
To the
homered,
sticks.
and the
He's the real deal.
Yankees won.
Volpe also has like turned it on in the last like 10 games. Like really turned it on. Like he has power that is consistent. He has been. His defense has struggled a little bit.
He has made quite a few errors.
I think he probably felt comfortable enough with his defense that he was ready to really focus on hitting. And now maybe he could put them both together.
Yeah,
Good
I
for
agree.
him.
Yeah.
There were quite a few players that looked like they were in MVP form this week. One of them being Aaron Judge, who hit 5 home runs
God, he's so good.
since we last recorded.
I think he hit 5 homers in this series against the Jays.
I think he might have. Yeah,
5
and
homers
he
in 4
almost had
games.
6. Like he got one that got called back because it was a they called it a
Fan
double.
interference.
But
Oh, yeah.
No, it was like it wasn't a home run.
Yeah.
He missed it by like a foot. was the
I
point.
missed a few games because we saw so many movies. So like we went to go see
Yeah, yes,
7
we
o'clock
did.
showings.
Also with 5 home runs this week, Ronald Acuna and Nolan Arenado.
Your boy.
Who had been struggling for the first like month of the year,
Yeah,
as
he's
I think
picking
he
it up.
sometimes does. Like I don't think he's always a good April hitter, but he's certainly picking it up.
Everyone will have forgotten by the time anything matters, so it's
I
all right.
think people have forgotten already.
Probably fair.
The Cardinals look like they're back. They've won 8 of their last 10, and that division is still wide open. So if any of those other
Yeah.
teams like the Brewers or the Cubs wanted to get off to a hot start, I mean the Pirates did, and then they promptly fell back to earth, and they've
They
lost like
did.
12 of their past. They've lost like 13 of.
They are still
15.
only a game out of first place, though. So if they want to pick it back up,
Well, that's what I'm saying. The division is wide
yeah.
open.
Also, if you're an underperforming team, now the groundwork or the map or whatever that has been set of how you fix it, you blame the catcher. It's how
Yeah.
you get out of the basement.
we just blame the catcher.
Yeah.
So who's going to try that next? Maybe who
framework.
should blame the catcher is the Pirates, because they have 2 who are waiting in AAA, just
Oh,
right
yeah.
on the edge of being able to
Just call 'em up.
come up
Man.
and dominate. They've got Henry Davis is on a tear right now, and Endy Rodriguez, a switch hitting prospect. Both
Henry
of
Davis is
whom-
currently in Double-A.
Oh, yeah, because Endy's in AAA. That's
Yep.
right. That makes more sense. And yet they choose to start Austin Hedges. So,
Not great.
kind of unfortunate.
Not great, Bob.
Feels like manipulation there of the Super 2 rule or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah. That got me in trouble in my job interview with baseball. Because they asked me, they were like, so do you know about, the business side pretty well? Do you know about the Rule 5 draft and Super 2 eligibility? And I was like, yeah, I know about the Rule 5 draft for sure. I'd never heard of it before.
Yuri Perez came up.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so excited about that.
A lot of young
One of
pitching.
my favorite pitching prospects
Yeah.
in baseball. He's made 2 starts. His second one today. He went 5 innings against the Nationals. He got his first win. Taj Bradley also came back up today for the Rays to replace one of their injured pitchers because they have so many.
Yep.
And he also looks
their
good.
pitching is getting kind of shellacked.
Their pitching, their depth is certainly being
Baz,
tested.
Glasnow, Rasmussen, and Springs. They have 4 possible Cy Young candidates on the IL.
I know. Glasnow is
Unbelievable.
coming back this week.
Yes.
But, it's definitely been next man up
Yeah.
in Rays land for quite a while.
Yep. Oh, Clevenger and Clevenger got hurt.
Jackson Holiday continues to tear
Oh, that was the
up
game against the
minors.
Yankees. I forgot about that. That was when he tripped trying to tag out Aaron Hicks.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that? Anyway, yeah, Jackson Holiday had 5 RBIs and 3 at bats.
Yeah, he had 2 straight games where I think he went 10 for 10 or something stupid. He's at this point kind of consensus the number 1 prospect in all of baseball.
Yeah,
it's kind of crazy how last year's Drew Jones sweepstakes turned into the Jackson Holiday litmus test.
Yep.
I think that's super interesting, but he looks like...
Fangraphs has Gunnar as the number 1, but that's...
That can't be... that's not updated because Gunnar graduated. He's no longer prospect eligible.
I think it still counts.
That's probably the preseason list you're looking at.
At present, no.
Mitch Keller is officially good, I think, and
George, he looks great.
George
start.
Kirby is
the man
leveling up for the Mariners. He had another dominant start last night, and he just doesn't walk anybody. I think his walk rate, his walk per 9 is under a 1, which is just stupid.
Yeah.
So
nuts. Definitely
ace production there out of him. He had a little bit of a slow start, but he's looking better now. That's about it for the baseball news for me. I got a couple movie topics to touch on quick before we get into this double feature.
Sure.
First of all, the Cannes Film Festival started this weekend, and they...
Palme d'Or.
Yeah. Did you hear what their opening film was this year to start off the festival? It is a period drama directed by Mai Wen, who is best known as the woman who was groomed by Luc Besson when she was 12 and he was 30.
Oh,
boy.
Yeah, and that...
French?
Yes.
Yeah.
Shocker, right? And
those Frenchies.
That relationship inspired Leon the Professional, the movie with the then 15-year-old Natalie Portman or whatever.
Sure.
So just gross vibes all over.
Yeah.
She directs herself as this woman who everybody wants to fuck and who is super powerful and is witty and she knows everything, and she teams up with the King Louis, one of them, and it's played by Johnny Depp, and it's his comeback.
Oh my god!
And it's his big comeback role.
Dude, any self-awareness?
No, they are aware of it. They're doing it on purpose.
Oh,
it's because of the French. They're like, ha with no jamais
these
le
Americans. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so foul, and they're getting rightfully skewered for it all over social media.
Gross.
But Killers of the Flower Moon is playing there out of competition. So I don't know.
The trailer looks amazing.
It does. I picture that festival, and I'm just keep Johnny Depp away from Scorsese, as far away as you can.
Yeah.
Just we don't need that gross energy.
Yeah.
Polluting our guy.
Well, I mean,
the trailer
is
perfect.
DiCaprio.
Oh my god, it came out today.
Whatever. Anyway, the trailer looks great. That last tag on that trailer is one of the most powerful things I've seen recently in a trailer.
Can you find the wolves in this picture?
Looks great.
It's beautiful. From the opening shot, it's just, you can tell our guy has done it again.
Yep.
Thelma's done it again in the editing booth.
I love that the trailer doesn't really tell you what the plot actually is. It just tells you what's going down. You can just tell it's oil barons and business and greed and whatever about killing Native Americans and overtaking the country.
Yeah.
But we don't actually know anything about the character. DiCaprio's in love with a Native American woman. It looks like.
I need to read the book that it's based on before that movie comes out, because it's the nonfiction book published by David Gran a few years back. It won some crazy awards.
Yeah.
This is definitely my most anticipated movie of the year. I think it's especially interesting because it's the first time that Scorsese has gotten Robert De Niro and Leonardo DiCaprio together. He has made so many movies with one or the other of them.
Got them both.
30 years of his career working with De Niro, and then
the Paisan content through the roof.
All of the 21st century 3-hour blockbuster auteurist masterpieces he's made with DiCaprio, culminating with The Irishman with De Niro again, and now the two of them are together. So
What a dynamic duo.
Oh man,
Boom.
Yep.
it's hard to even think of any comparison for that.
Brady and Antonio Brown.
like
Brady and Julio Jones.
like somebody,
It's not
know,
baseball.
establishing a legacy for so long. with
Scherzer and
this
Verlander.
collaborator, and then finding another for another generation, and then creating something with the two of them together.
Taylor Swift and Matty Healy.
Okay, shut the fuck. it gives me hope for cinema
Fair
that he's
enough.
doing this at age 80.
I think that's fair. I think
Fucking
that's
so
well
cool.
Taylor
deserved.
Swift
Well deserved
and
hope.
Matty Healy, my ass.
What's happening?
We've talked.
Yeah.
We've now mentioned both Johnny Depp and
Matty
Taylor
Healy.
Swift in this episode. I think we're gonna get a lot of hate.
I think so.
Like the
they
bots.
find
It's
it,
gonna
yeah.
be like
Oh,
The
God.
bots are gonna come for you.
Amber Turd lost.
sides.
Get over
Oh,
it.
dear
Like,
God.
Oh boy. Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Okay.
Yeah.
Moving on.
The double feature that we've got for you this week prepared is two movies starring cast of the Always Sunny crew. My favorite show on television,
Same here.
personally. Fool's Paradise, directed by Charlie Day, and Blackberry, directed by Matt Johnson, and starring Dennis Reynolds himself, one of the greatest actors of our generation.
He really might be.
And who has been due for a
He's so good.
star turn for 10 years now.
That man has range.
Mr. Glenn Howerton.
He full display.
Yeah.
Actually, in both movies, he was in Fool's Paradise too.
To be honest, that's a movie that's full of celebrity cameos,
Yeah.
like and mostly Always Sunny cameos, like
A lot.
most of the
Sunny,
time,
yeah.
like that. Like if I'm like watching a movie and I see something and it's like, oh hey, look at the celebrities, like I don't really care. But when it's somebody from Always Sunny, oh my
Yeah.
god, I'm into it.
I know. Actually, so Bryce has not really seen a lot of Sunny, and what she has not a fan of, which I actually think is very helpful for this, because you get an out, because we might be biased because we love all of these actors and
Sure.
characters and whatever, but I know you actually liked both movies and you have no association, so that's kind of there's your little, if you don't like Sunny, you could still go see him and enjoy him.
It's not that I don't like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, whatever.
Yeah, that one.
that one.
That's the city.
It's just I've seen a couple of episodes. I feel like I need to watch it all the way through.
Yeah.
You do.
Because
There's
I've
just
seen
so
like
much
here and
show.
there, and I just like don't get it. But I also didn't really like The Office the first time I saw it, because I didn't see it in order, and I saw it like
Yeah.
bits and pieces, and I was like, "Why is this funny?"
They're
now
very
I love
different
Office, and
Yeah,
I'm
shows.
sure I'd feel the same
Definitely
way.
not
Yeah.
the same type of comedy.
Yeah.
But it is also, it is similar in that you kind of get used to the style.
Of course,
The
yeah,
Office,
yeah.
you get used to the actual storytelling style, whereas Sunny, you get used to the fact that it's like, oh, it's
Yeah.
satire of these terrible,
And I'm not comparing the two. I know they're two
people.
totally different shows,
Yeah.
but like a example of how I didn't like it
Yeah.
at first.
I hate it when people say like, "Oh, you have to get past like season 1 to fully
Season 6.
appreciate it." But yeah, but with that show, it's actually true, because that's when Danny DeVito
Right.
shows up, is in the season
He's
2
so
pilot,
cute.
Yep.
and that is when it really.
Speaking
turns
of
into-
Italian.
and finds its groove.
Love Danny DeVito. He is a treasure.
Yeah.
Thank God.
But speaking of Fool's Paradise, which we'll start off with, I published some of my thoughts on it onto the Mudville Substack. It was the first time that I have tried to tackle a film review,
Yeah.
and I found myself to be quite a fan of it, and I'm going to do it again. So there's
As you
going to be thank you. There's going to be more coming on the Mudville Substack,
Yeah,
as well
go
as
check that out.
as
Link in
well
bio.
as Brody's, the Yankees, etc.
Mhm.
So you can find both those together.
Yeah, I was
Um,
trying to do weekly stuff on there. I think I'm going to pull back on that, because I wrote a weekly recap, and then I think I'm going to actually just end up more when I find that there's something that I feel
Sure.
strongly about.
Yeah,
just
yeah,
because
of
I don't
course.
want to. I'm not getting paid for it, so I don't want to
You
force
don't wanna
myself
waste
to
the
make a
people's
deadline.
time.
That and my own time, because it's like, I want it to be good,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to force something out that I don't feel great about. So I want it to be like, oh, I care about this, and I feel like I can write about it well. So
If you're not talking
Gotta do
money,
that.
Brody doesn't want to talk.
well, it's not that. It's that I don't want to write.
So funny.
Also, I'm not a scat. I'm not in the
But
WGA.
you're good at it.
But
I'm just
thank
trying
you. I
to
appreciate that.
make you sound cool here. Like
That's,
I'm just trying to
you
like
better
talk
bring
around
stacks,
shit and
bring bands, and we can talk.
But what did you think of Fool's Paradise?
Bryce, you first.
Oh God, I don't want to go first. You go first.
Brody, go first.
Okay,
Go
fine.
first.
I enjoyed it. I like it's not doing too hot in the old review area.
That's like 16% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, I don't know why it's that low. I get it not being like 99% certified fresh, but it's also I don't know why it's so low because it's like it is not a movie that's worth hating. Like
No, certainly not.
It is just it's a thoroughly like it will keep your attention the whole way. It's fun, it's different, it feels fresh, not to do a nod to Rotten Tomatoes, but it feels like very fresh as a concept. And also I love the idea, the concept of it is great of like this character that wants nothing and everybody that he interacts with in Hollywood just is the way that they treat him is a reflection of who they are as people and as characters. And I love that. They're aggressive and he's giving them nothing. And it's just so...
Yeah,
I loved that. I thought it was really fun.
You know, Charlie Day was definitely very clear that this is a movie that wears its influences on its sleeve. In particular, Hal Ashby's
Yeah.
Being There from 1979, starring Peter Sellers.
Okay.
A movie about a gardener whose caretaker or rich person dies. And he's
Whose rich person dies.
rich person dies.
His rich person.
He's cast out into the real world and, you know, through like the help of people and just circumstantial situations
Sure.
that he finds himself in. Like he becomes a politician and
Right.
like gets
Just
a
out of
bunch of
nowhere.
money and
Yeah.
whatever. And like that's a lot of fun. And I don't think that this movie was able to capture that magic quite as well. Like I felt like some of the maneuvering that they did, like with you know, like Adrian Brody and Kate.
He was great, by the
Beckinsale.
way.
I did enjoy his performance.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they're kind of like throwing Charlie Day around just in a way that doesn't always feel fully natural and feels a little bit like contrived and mechanical sometimes.
Yeah,
like
but-
it's like his innocence and helplessness is
Yeah.
like that should drive everything else around him, and I feel like it was kind of the other way around at points.
I kind of like that, though. It's just everything is just like pushing him.
Yeah, but
Like, and that's
kinda
I know
what I'm
that
saying.
was like what he wanted to do.
Mhm.
I was listening to the Sunny podcast where he was talking about coming up with the concept, and he was like, I want a character that is completely just without agency or want or, you know, just remove everything that makes your prototypical protagonist.
it's a
it's
riff
fun.
on the
Yeah.
the Tramp, the
Yes.
Charlie
Yeah, yeah.
Chaplin protagonist.
When he gets off the bus and they throw the little hat at him and he does like a little like physical like, you know,
Yeah.
just
Dance.
a very just like a very an allusion to the old, you know, silent movies and just all that stuff. And
Yeah, well,
it's fun.
That was kind of something that I wish that they had leaned into a little bit more. Like one
Yeah,
of
it
my
went
main
away.
complaints was that you can't really have a Tramp movie without like physical comedy, and,
Right.
like this. Like I don't think Charlie
Completely
Day
present.
had like he doesn't have the same charisma as Charlie Chaplin. Like he has kind of like an ironic like post charisma again.
Sure.
And like that's certainly not like a knock on Charlie
Postmodernist
Day. Like
charisma.
it's like 100 years after.
right.
I do think that it's an interesting concept to like take, you know, something that helped build Hollywood from the ground up, like
Sure.
these very like basic like visual ideas and these gags that were just performed in such a exemplary fashion by Chaplin that was able to like propel him to superstardom. And then you make this movie now 100 years later and it doesn't really have a lot of that charm that's like so inherent to his DNA, you know. So
Sure.
like I don't know, part of me thinks that it's like an unfair comparison to make in the first place, but also like it seems pretty clear to me that Charlie Day wants you to make that comparison. Like you want to be like, hey, this is kind of like the Tramp, but like, if you're gonna do that, I think you have to lean into it a little bit more than he did. Like, you know, the fact that we can talk in movies now,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
Can use that a bit.
like, and that Charlie Day himself appears as a different, like, speaking character for like a couple minutes, and then that's
I actually really
the
like
way
that.
that he's able to
yeah.
incorporate this new character into the
Well,
plot.
it's like
we
it's
should
the-
actually say
the
what
reason.
the plot of the movie is
Yeah.
for those who have not seen it. It's the story of this unnamed mute mental patient portrayed by Charlie Day, who stumbles onto a film set, and this
Down on his luck.
opportunistic, pathetic publicist played by Ken Jeong.
He gives an amazing performance.
I
actually.
disagree. I didn't like him very much.
Really?
I
thought
think
it
he's
was
just
good.
an annoying actor.
Yeah, I felt like he was
I
kind of like
liked it.
sucking the energy out of it sometimes, to be honest.
A
I wasn't
little.
into him.
He
But-
overpowered Charlie Day a little bit.
I think that was part. I think because they're supposed to be like both the main
That-
character, but yeah.
That's another
I don't
thing
disagree.
too.
I get what
is,
you mean, but I thought he did
I
well.
just think he has like a stronger energy than Charlie Day has. Like I don't know. I just
Well,
think that actor
yeah.
kind of bothers me.
That's
He did a good he had a great performance, but you know.
He's very like one note.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he is.
yeah,
He
he
is.
can't-
He plays the same character in every
Tune-
movie.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought I couldn't tell if his heartfelt scenes, what was supposed to be heartfelt, or
No,
not. Which-
I thought it was ironic, which
Yeah.
but I couldn't tell if it was supposed to be or not.
That's
like
the thing is, like, I like it if it's ironic,
Right.
but if that was supposed to be sincere, like, that
Yeah.
fucking sucks.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I'm talking specifically about like the scene in the hospital where he like literally says, "I have to be nicer to people and stop taking them for granted." Like
Right.
that's so like that's very like walk hard.
It's
Like,
exactly.
that
It's,
can't.
like
I felt like that kind of couldn't be sincere, but I also don't want to
self-aware.
be like,
yeah.
But also, I don't really know if it was sincere because like the whole like LA movie culture is like
Right.
so fake.
Yeah.
And he probably feels like he should feel like that,
Well,
but
yeah,
doesn't.
right.
the
you know?
plot
true.
itself is definitely satire. Like,
Yeah.
you know, he
The characters too. Everybody
The
is a satire on this
publicist
archetype of LA
takes-
person. But yeah,
yeah, and he gives Charlie Day's character the name Latte Pronto.
he overhears
Latte
the
Pronto.
director or the producer
Yeah.
of the movie that Charlie Day's mental patient character stumbles into, and the producer yells at an intern for a latte pronto, and he thinks that that's his name. And so he goes, "Mr. Pronto, do you mind if I call you Latte?" He's like, "Can I? Do you have an agent? Do you have representation?" And,
Yeah,
you know,
it was
like-
the
Yeah.
the whole thing.
I enjoyed it. It's like it's cute. It's all like nothing deserves to be taken seriously, which is why I think it shouldn't be rated so low.
Yeah,
But-
something else that I was going to point out is like in all the best like Chaplin movies, or at least the ones that I've seen, like he always has another strong presence to like
Yes.
complement
Right.
what he's doing.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
Yeah.
the best example is Paulette Goddard, but he's also like I haven't seen The Kid, but that has the
Kid is
titular
great.
kid, of
Yep.
course. And like Ken Jeong just doesn't have that at all. Like what he's doing and what Charlie Day is doing, like I never felt like there was a super strong
Yeah, they're very
chemistry
opposite,
between them.
performances.
I liked it a little bit more when he was being like led around by Adrian Brody or
Yeah.
Kate Beckinsale or Jason Sudeikis a little bit more. Like I felt like that, like those scenes had a bit more.
Sudeikis was great
Energy,
in this
like-
too.
I love him.
Yeah, he's
Jason
just a
Sudeikis
good
is
actor.
So
He's
good.
funny.
God.
I like they could have honestly cut
the best.
Ken
He
Jeong
is.
out entirely, and I would have been okay with it.
No, but you need him for like what plot that there is.
No, I kind of
which,
agree with
Yeah,
Nolan.
but like you could change him with somebody different. Like you could like that role could be played in a different way by a much more interesting actor.
I guess I don't hate the idea of using Ken Jeong. I'm curious why they did, because it is like it's hard to tell if they were going for a dramatic role for him or like
Yeah.
I think it works because he's very over the top and the whole film is very
And also like
extreme. But yeah,
Charlie Day, it didn't seem like he went for a lot of like memorable imagery. Like you,
I thought the cinematography was all right.
well, but
Oh, I thought it was
cinematography,
really pretty.
sure, but like images that you remember that like
Oh, sure.
stick in your head. You know, like you of course had to do that during the silent era. But if
Right.
this is supposed to be kind of like a homage to that, then I
see
wish
what
there
you
was
mean.
more like memorable imagery. Like I'm thinking
That
in like
bus was like the closest thing to that. I think that's like, quote
Yeah.
unquote iconic, which, it like, or from something like this where it would stick in your mind, but I get what you mean.
Yeah, like the best example that I can think of is modern times when they're like testing the corn feeding machine on him, and they like I know you haven't seen it, but they call him into the office and they like put this up to his teeth and it like spins around.
Oh my
I'm like,
God.
sure. And it's hilarious. And
That's
like
really
this
funny.
this movie doesn't really even attempt anything like that.
Yeah.
And I wish it did.
The only scene that I could think of, I mentioned this to you the other day, but when Charlie Day was being interviewed, his character was being interviewed, I think it was
Yeah.
like the same exact set as the Joker when the Joker was
Yeah.
being interviewed.
It looks like
with
it.
Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah. Which
Like, it
also
was-
might be.
It's
Yeah.
probably the same studio or something.
It could-
No. I just mean that might be trying to be a nod towards like the, a mental guy
yeah,
who-
that's
who
so
shouldn't
true.
be on this film.
Yeah.
It's,
I think we're kind of grasping at straws here.
Yeah, I think we were too.
maybe it's just supposed to be a
I don't
late
know. It
night
just
set,
looked
but-
so identical.
Yeah,
to
very
me.
similar.
Yeah, I definitely liked
I haven't
this
seen that
movie
whole
though.
movie.
I know
I've
it
only seen
sounds
half of
like I've been a little critical of it, but I definitely liked it. Like I wish that we had more movies like this. Like I wish
Yeah.
that we were still funding like mid-budget comedies like
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
from
That's why,
TV
too,
people that
it's-
are really funny.
Yeah, go
Like, we
see it
can, like-
and just like make your own opinion.
And no
on
one
it.
makes like fun movies anymore.
Yeah.
They're either like
Yeah.
really serious or really bad.
Yeah,
You
Yeah.
know, like this was just like a good movie to watch. you
Yeah.
know,
Very. It's just
It's just,
entertaining
like,
being
is
to
what
end.
it is.
And then
Comedies
you walk
now,
out, and you're like,
like-
that was fun. That's it.
Yeah, like I don't know, comedy. I feel like now, like people want it to serve as like therapy instead of jokes.
It's like we need
which,
jokes.
I don't know.
we
I'm
need
not-
we
not
need to
into
laugh and enjoy.
Yeah, and I definitely
do.
laughed at this movie. Like I
Common
liked-
was so funny.
he was really good. Like I loved the bit where Charlie Day's carrying around an urn and Common
Oh
just
my
for some reason assumes
He
that George
assumes it's
Lopez
George
is
Lopez.
inside. He's like,
Is that you, George?
He's like,
See you later, Lopez.
he's throwing the ashes like off of the thing, and he goes, Lopez, you made us laugh and you made us cry. Like that was the funniest part of the movie for me. It's just the assertion that George Lopez made us cry at any point in time.
Oh my god.
God,
Yeah, I mean,
that's
I loved
funny.
Jason Bateman shows up.
Yep, he's in there for a
Edie
sec.
Falco is like the agent. I
She was
actually
great.
wasn't really that into Glenn Howard's cameo as the like business
It was
manager.
like 2
for that.
seconds.
That one
it
was a
wasn't,
little.
I didn't
lazier
realize it was
for
him
me.
actually at first.
It's just like it's the kind of movie that like you're meant to just find on
Yeah.
like FX at 11 p.m.
Sure, watch it on
over
a
the
plane
summer.
and just like kick back
It's
and turn your
totally
brain
a
off.
plain movie.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I discovered Charlie Day from Horrible Bosses, which is like
Oh,
That's a
yeah.
great movie.
Like I
That's
love Horrible
funny.
Bosses. Yeah,
That's
and
a
like
great movie.
this is like the kind of movie like that's the kind of movie that I wish they were still making, and like
Right.
this is kind of the closest thing that we have. And maybe I'm only saying that because it's Charlie Day, and he's got
Right.
all of his guys in it. But
Well,
I don't
all
know.
of those like
it
Will
feels to me like there
Ferrell,
was
Ben Stiller type comedies, like
They
that
stopped.
Horrible Bosses
Yeah.
is like a thread on those kind of things, and like
Yeah.
a bit kind of moderner, like it's from 2012 or whatever, but like the 2000s had all those Will Ferrell and Ben Stillers, and then
Such a good era
2010s
for
were
movies.
yeah, and then after that there just hasn't been that in like years.
the studio
Years.
comedy went the way of the romantic comedy.
Yes.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Wait, which way? The
Dead.
Gone way?
Yeah, it's dead.
Beaten
Yeah.
to the ground.
Yep.
The thing that I mainly took away from it is that Charlie Day clearly has a lot of love for great directors. Like
Right.
I watched his Criterion.
He wanted it to be great.
Yeah, he definitely wanted it.
Yeah.
And that's more than a lot of people can say, to be honest.
It is. That's,
But like,
that's why
I
yeah.
watched his Criterion Closet episode, and he was like so happy to find all these movies. Like he was talking about bringing the Agnes Varda collection home for his wife, and he's got Francois Truffaut, and he got a PTA. He got Punch Drunk Love, and which John Bryan did the score for that. He
Yes.
also did the score
Yeah,
for
yeah.
this. Kubrick, he got the Cassavetes collection. He was like, I got to take this back home, and I got to like re-study this, and I got to see like what he did. And I was like, man, I also need to do that. Like, I need to watch John Cassavetes movies again.
Sure.
But yeah, it's like inspiring to hear people talk like that, like especially when they're occupying the lane that Charlie Day is. And I definitely hope that despite this movie's failures on Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic or wherever, that he is allowed to continue making them.
Yeah, I really hope he comes back with something else at some point. And like, you know, I think his shtick plays. I think he just has to find the right way to use it. So it's, you know. Anyway, I would give it a 7 or 7.25 out of 10.
I would give it
maybe 6.5.
Shit, I don't want to go on a quarter scale. I was going to give it a like 5.5.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I think it's not good enough for a 7.5, but like I enjoyed it more than a 7. So 7 maybe feels.
Do we want to? Here's a question: do we want to set the precedent for numerical ratings on our movie episodes?
I'll just say 7 out of 10. So are you saying like this is a 7?
I'm conceptually like
that's a good point because then if you that being considered, I'll give it a 6.
If we did, I'd give it a 5.
Yeah, okay.
I think 6 is good too because I think it's an average movie, but it's like above average.
Yeah,
just a little bit.
Fine. Bold prediction: when it comes out on VOD, a bunch of people are going to be like, "Hey, this is all right."
Yeah, exactly.
It'll
have a cold dead cat bounce or whatever.
Yeah. Do you want to get into the other movie we've got this week?
Sure. Do we have any other final thought? I think we covered everything. Anyway,
I think I've got everything.
Actually, there is one thing that I wanted to mention about him wanting it to be good, and the fact that they used John Bryan for the score and everything in the podcast episode where he's talking about making the movie. He says that they put a shit ton of the budget into the score. Because you have to have which I appreciate a lot as a musician. Like he also is a musician, and he knows like if you're gonna have a movie like this, anything where you want it to feel emotional or something, it has to have the right score. Which I just appreciate that he actually recognizes that and threw money at a great composer and said, "Hey, I've got this thing, and try to help me make it better with to what a score does. It's not just there, it adds to things."
Yeah, it complements the movie.
Exactly.
Like I felt like watching it that the cinematography got like progressively better as the movie went on. Like I remember like
I think they shot it over years too, by the way.
They shot it 5 years ago at
they
this point,
started
so
in 2018
like, I don't know. Maybe at this point he's able to make a better movie than he was 5 years ago.
Right.
Who knows? There were several times in the movie, like even when I wasn't particularly into what was on the screen, where I noticed that this like beautiful score would come kicking in. And I was like, I really like that.
Right. Right.
I think that definitely helped. I mean, the good score always helps a movie.
Absolutely.
And the other one that we saw this week was Blackberry, directed by Matt Johnson. I believe he's from Toronto, maybe. I know he's Canadian.
Where the vampires.
Familiarized myself to his most popular movie, which is The Dirties, this afternoon.
Okay.
It's kind of like this super, super low budget DIY, like filmmaking, like film nerd movie that progressively turns into a mass shooter thriller.
Oh my lord!
Like a school shooter movie, basically.
Jesus Christ.
It's fucking
They
crazy.
make movies about that now.
Well, they did 10 years ago in Canada.
Wow.
I don't know if you could do it in America.
Yeah.
But I mean,
why? We're the one that has them.
Yeah.
Why can't
we're
you
the
make
ones,
the art about
we're
it?
the ones who need to. We got to handle it. Why is Hollywood not solving this problem?
Yeah. Oh God.
They are the problem.
Fix it.
Yeah, we just saw this movie tonight, so I tried to keep quiet.
we did not really discuss our thoughts about it.
Until we got back.
Got on the mics, as they say.
I was really impressed by how much I liked this movie.
Me too.
It was so good.
Yeah,
I was so happy.
I think
so
the
good.
only thing that we did talk about on the way out was like, wait, are we all like, we're not expecting how great that was going to be?
That
And it was
was
really
kind of
funny.
knocked our socks off.
I don't think it was just the fact that we just walked out either. I think like everything was just like tight and fun, and it was like the drama hit and the comedy hit, and it was just like all very well done. I thought performances were great, the story was great, it was all good.
Yeah, he's I was talking about the movie that I watched before. This is a decade later, and a completely new direction for Matt Johnson. I felt a lot of like Social Network influence in this.
Definitely.
I felt like if it was about if it was about MySpace Tom,
Yeah.
like
Right.
the people who like led up to the people who were very successful.
Right.
I saw
That's a good way to put it.
I saw quite a few inside Llewyn Davis comparisons this week that I think is totally apt because like that's like a movie about.
I still haven't seen that movie.
Oh man,
I
dude,
know
it's
I would
amazing.
love it. I need to watch it.
I know most of the listeners hopefully have seen it, but if not, it's a movie about a folk singer down on his luck touring America after the death of his partner, and he serves sort of culturally as the unsuccessful opening act for Bob Dylan.
Oh, we should watch that.
Yeah, you would love it,
good.
and
Oh my God.
you'd really love it. And this movie, they serve as the opening act for the iPhone,
Right.
And Blackberries are done. Like I haven't
Yeah.
seen anybody with a Blackberry in over 12 years or
That's-
whatever.
yeah.
That's a pretty specific number, but I haven't
Yep.
I haven't seen a Blackberry in the wild in quite
Yep.
a long time.
Well, there's
In
the
the wild.
stat in the wild. There's a stat on the end of the screen which I think is very like at their peak, BlackBerry held 45% of the I think of the global cell phone market, which is insane. 45% of human beings with a phone had a BlackBerry.
A lot of people.
Now it's 0. So like it's that's
Yeah.
something. That's a
like-
very hard rise and
mean,
fall.
Everyone has an iPhone.
Yeah.
if I'm like texting somebody and they
Or
have like
Android
a
overseas.
green text message,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be like,
It's not worth it.
I don't know if I'm into this
Cut
person.
them off.
Out of it.
Yeah,
Done.
they're probably weird. They pick their nose.
Oh my god.
Oh my God. Last night we saw a man knuckle deep.
Oh man,
Just walking.
really? Where was this?
We were in the subway.
Call him out.
And yeah,
We almost did.
we don't know his name, but
Air him out on the pod.
okay.
Should bring him on to get as a guest.
If you were in the where were we? Delancey?
No.
Who cares?
Whatever.
What
If you were
Doesn't matter.
if you were in the Grand Street D tunnels last night around 9 o'clock and you were digging for gold, you were seen. Just so you know.
You were sick.
I'm
Also,
sure that guy's listening. He's like, fuck.
No. He was brazen.
They got me.
He knew that he was seen. There were no, we were not. It was not just like us and him, and he was like looking around. This is like a crowd of people going 2 ways in the middle of traffic, and I'm telling you, he is up there. Like,
Brody's
searching.
very passionate about the nose picker.
Well, we were looking at each other. Like we walked by, and I don't want to like tap you on the hip while we're like facing him, but like we walked by him, and both of us just started laughing and looked at each other like, you saw that, right? Like, that man was in the nose.
Oh my god.
But anyway, go on.
Oh man, yeah. And anyway, BlackBerry. Well, I guess we'll get into the plot. It's
Sorry to derail things.
Mudville, a podcast about digging for gold. It's a movie about the once kind of upstart BlackBerry operation, which was started by tech guys Mike Lazaridis and Doug. Last name I don't remember.
Friegel or Frag.
Yeah, played by Jay Baruchel
Friga.
and Matt Johnson, the director of the film,
Yes.
respectively. And
Jay
their-
Baruchel was great.
yeah,
God.
I really liked him. And how
Yeah.
their team of fun, like movie nerds, like fun guys, became in business with a
they
shark.
were like nerds. They
yeah,
were like
they were like, yeah, for real.
like whatever the opposite of a man's man is. They were like,
And then you have Jim Balsillie, a Canadian
ball silly.
businessman, who hits them up and is like, "You guys are getting screwed, and I'm gonna be your business partner, and we're gonna turn this into a whole thing."
He's like a
And-
hard ass businessman, Wall Street type.
And the
He's so funny.
the
Yeah, he
reason
was
that
great.
you get Glenn Howerton for this role is that this man is
He's a
objectively
psychopath.
insane.
Yeah, he's an absolute
he is an
lunatic.
insane person.
Yeah.
Which is so much fun because like it's of course about like the upstart BlackBerry operation. So like anybody who has an iPhone knows what happened to the BlackBerry. Like they were super successful.
Well, anybody who's over the
And-
age of like 16 knows what happened
Yeah.
to BlackBerry. They remember. We were, all of us on the way out were like, my mom had a Blackberry. And we're like, mine too.
Brick Breaker.
Yeah.
Brick Breaker on the Blackberry, all
For
the bees.
real.
But yeah.
I was impressed with how clean of a 3-act structure, like the real
Oh my God,
story
yeah.
made. Like not
Yeah.
that that's like something I particularly care about, but like when it's done well, I think it's worth
No, it's fun.
shouting out. Like
Yeah.
this was a really tight, strong screenplay. Like I laughed all throughout.
We
this
laughed, we
movie.
cried.
Thank you.
we-
Just like George Lopez.
Just like George Lopez. We didn't cry. It's not that sad.
No.
Unless you really were attached to your Blackberry. It's not that sad.
Yeah, but like obviously this is a rise and fall finance asshole movie. It's
Just such a good setting for a movie.
yeah, it's kind of like Social Network if they didn't respect the tech entrepreneur.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which would be a much more interesting movie without Aaron Sorkin's bullshit. But hey, I digress.
Yeah. When Glenn Howerton first shows up in this operation and like he has to, whip this ragtag group of nerds playing like World of Warcraft or whatever they were playing, and he like shows up and he's, talking to them like they're working at a real, like he's coming from an actual office and he shows up and he's like barking orders at secretaries that don't exist.
Yeah.
And like, it's really funny.
You can just tell that he's from a completely different world.
Yeah.
It's like
But it's also, I say funny, but it's also just like extremely effective.
Oh, yeah.
At showing
it's
the
great
difference
filmmaking.
of what this guy can bring to this group, and why he's there and what they need, and also just make you laugh.
I love the moment where Glenn Howerton says to them, do you know the saying, the perfect is the enemy of
The
good?
good,
And
yeah.
he replies, good enough is the enemy of humanity.
Yep.
And I was like, damn.
that was-
Yo, that's good stuff.
There's a lot of good quotes in that movie.
Yeah, there
Yeah,
are.
no,
Like
definitely.
a lot of them.
Yeah.
It was really
I
well done.
really liked
Yeah.
it.
Well written.
Well
I
written.
would say, like, towards the third act when Glenn is going full Dennis and Jay Baruchel is like kind of doing a Tim Robinson impression
Yeah.
for like
Oh
a
my
few scenes.
God.
Yep.
Like I really, the movie was firing on all cylinders.
Yep.
Like I thought it did a great job of balancing the dynamic of the relationships between Jay and Matt and
Yeah.
Jay and Glenn. And I do wish that they had given Glenn Howerton's character a bit more screen time, because like he was definitely like the most fun to watch.
Yes.
Like by a head.
In the third act, he kind of is off on his own little side adventure that doesn't
Yeah.
get seen as much. But yeah, it's like he is in more than enough to like give you a full, like it'll satiate your Dennis appetite. If
Yeah.
you. And also for Sunny fans, my little plug for you, you do get a good real Dennis Reynolds psycho moment in this movie.
You get a line read.
It's like it is pure gold.
It's great.
Shiny
It's
50-carat gold
Yep.
of just exactly what you want Glenn Howerton to give you. Just
I really
which
need
I think
to watch Sunny.
we'll watch
really
some
need to watch
tonight
it.
after this. But it's it's exactly what you're thinking it is, and we've said it I think a few times already on the podcast. But it's not to spoil it, but it's just so good, and I feel like I'm going to be saying that now whenever I talk about where I'm from. Like, it's just it's
oh
good.
My God, me too.
And I think like I was worried, I will say, because in the very beginning I could not separate at all. Like he shows up as this very serious businessman character.
And I was like, oh, that's Dennis.
Like that's Dennis. Like it's Dennis, and he's doing a bit, and he's wearing another man's skin, and this is like he's getting off on this and whatnot.
You know what that reminds me of?
What's that?
It's like when Jason Alexander plays any other role.
Oh, he's George.
or
Can't do
even Rainn Wilson.
Yes,
Yeah.
they
It's like
cannot do it.
that is George and
Yep.
Dwight. Like
even when
that
they
is
change
George and
their
Dwight.
hair or their facial hair or whatever, like it's because he's got the Costanza cut actually
Yeah.
in this movie, but he's still Glenn Howerton with his like face and jaw and whatever.
I always
and
feel
it's
so
like-
bad for those actors
Yeah,
who
I-
get stuck on a role.
I know they can't get away from it.
Sucks.
It is.
Well, they did
But-
that whole Curb season
Yes.
where they were like gonna
Yeah.
make a show with Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Like,
That was
about
really
that.
funny.
Yep.
Um,
No, it was Jason. It was Jason Alexander.
But Julie Louis Dreyfus. Julie.
She was.
What's
She was.
her name?
She was
like
involved.
Julia
Julia
Louis
Louis-Dreyfus.
Dreyfus is also
Oh,
in that episode.
Which, by the way, actually,
lots of people's parents are going to see Blackberry, and they're going to be like, "Why didn't they make a movie about the iPhone?"
Oh my god, that's coming. That's on the way.
I know it's next. It's the sequel.
I actually
Yeah.
would want to see
Rob
that. Though.
McElhenney will be Steve Jobs.
Oh, that'd be wild.
Like-
I
God.
actually never realized like what the story was behind BlackBerry
Yeah,
though,
of course.
because like
No one
obviously
knows.
like
Yeah.
I mean we grew up and our like moms had these phones or dads or whoever,
Right.
and and like I always used to steal it and like play on the phone and like Brick Breaker and like all
Right.
that stuff, but like I didn't realize how insane that whole development was.
Yeah,
like
that
it was
era
just
of tech.
crazy.
Behind
yeah.
the scenes.
I
Yeah.
like can't even
People
imagine
were
how do you
scheming.
just like create
They
something
invented smartphones.
so I know, but like that is
Crazy
some
shit.
like
Yeah.
crazy smart like
Yeah.
oh my god. I can't
There's,
even imagine.
Like, I don't know how much we should be talking directly about like what happens, but there
No,
is
yeah.
that moment.
That's
like
okay.
last one to really cut. If you've seen the movie, you get it.
Spoiler.
If you haven't, you know.
Sorry.
Yeah, we're not going like too deep into
it's not
spoilers, but we're
it's just
talking
like
about
little
the movie.
moments
so
that
it's okay.
hit well. So if
Yeah.
you need a reason to go see it, there are
like
a lot.
like the story
But-
is like real.
Yeah,
So I mean like
exactly.
not really
That-
giving away much.
Yeah,
That's
it's
true,
like,
too.
How much
But-
can you spoil a movie about the BlackBerry?
exactly.
It's
But
like you
the-
make a movie about Blockbuster.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. right.
Continue.
But the moment when Mike at the end, he's like, they're talking about like iPhone is on the way. Like it's right after it's been announced, and like you as the viewer, you're like, oh well, they're fucked.
Yeah,
Like, you know, they
obviously.
cannot. We know that like these characters are done. And he goes like the guys that he's been working with are like, well, you know, what are you actually giving us new? Like, how are you going to beat them? And it's like, because I know that I created this entire industry, and it's like, oh shit. That is kind of crazy. He just got beat at his own game. That's what this story is like, you know, in a
Yeah.
nutshell.
So weird.
This
When
guy
he-
who
when he
thought he
talks
had
about
it all and
that-
figured it out, and then it just fails.
And when
But,
he
yeah.
talks about that, it's also kind of like the third act, sort of, where
Right.
it's like you realize you're like, oh shit,
This is
like,
on the way
wow.
out.
Like you actually
Yeah.
feel like your heart drop, and you realize like, wow,
Kinda
this guy
sad.
actually did
Yeah.
create this
Yeah.
like whole thing practically, and
You're rooting for him by the end.
you're totally rooting for him,
Yeah.
and then like at the end, he just goes like psycho and is
Yep.
trying to like, you know, beat
Yep.
whoever, and it's
Right.
just. You know, all these years later, we're still using iPhones.
Yeah, I
and,
know.
like-
As I was sitting there with all of us, everybody in the
I
theater
felt
is probably
guilty. I
like,
felt
our
like I crushed this
phones are
guy's
feeling a
dreams.
little bit heavier in our pockets all of a sudden.
Well,
Like,
there was that. We're going to become the
Yeah.
guys who were the phone before everybody
we were the
had an
phones
iPhone.
that you had before you had an iPhone.
And I think I heard somebody in the audience say, "Yeah."
Yup.
Oh my
Yeah.
god! But when you think about
that
it
guy
too,
was talking
like
a lot.
I remember, I think my mom only had a BlackBerry for like 3 years
Yeah, my mom too.
or something.
Mine
Like not
had
that
the first
long.
iPhone.
My mom also
Yeah.
had the first iPhone, which
Wow.
she moved from the BlackBerry with the little ball straight to the iPhone.
Yeah.
Which,
Do we
Yeah.
have anything else to say about BlackBerry? Do you want to give it a score?
Jay
Bryce, do you wanna start?
Baruchel's range from being like that really quiet, nerdy, like other dude has to speak for him all the time to being like snaky businessman was really cool.
Yeah, I
I thought
thought
he
that
did
was
a
Do you
good
think
job.
of This Is the End?
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I like he just did a good job. I you know, I
Sure.
didn't know that he had that kind of range. And same thing goes for Glenn Howerton. This is the first time I've ever seen him do real dramatic role, like true, like playing it straight, and he fucking nailed it, knocked it out of the park.
I also have another point too. Like,
Yeah.
so the main guy, white hair.
Glenn Howerton or
Wait,
Mike.
Mike.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mike,
I know
yes.
him by his character. I don't
Yeah.
know the actors very
Jay
well.
Baruchel.
Yeah, so Mike, the character, he was super vulnerable and like
Yeah.
as Bird was saying, like soft spoken and like all this, you know, really timid guy. And by the end, he's like again like the schemy, like slimy
Right.
guy sort of thing. But you
with
can
the
see
slick
you can-
haircut and whatnot.
yeah, and you can totally tell. But he also has that same element at the end where he goes back to his like vulnerable, like he actually cares about the
Yeah.
phone and like whatever.
Yeah.
But I thought it was cool because this Always Sunny guy, what's his name?
Glenn Howerton.
yeah.
Yes, the one
He-
playing
Jim Balsall.
Jim Bald Silly.
Yeah,
Yes.
Jim, whatever. So he was
Falsely.
super like strong and like such a strong presence at first, but then like over the course of the movie, he becomes a little bit more vulnerable.
Yeah.
And
yeah. He
I feel like,
softens up
yeah,
a bit.
the two
Yeah.
co-CEOs like a little like switched vibes a little bit, which I thought was kind of cool to see.
Yeah, that's so true.
I
didn't
also
think
thought
about
it was
that.
really
Yeah.
cute the way they came up with BlackBerry because Mike,
He spilled on his
Mike,
shirt.
yeah, he was
I
like
was
so
wondering-
nervous, and he like got this BlackBerry stain
Yeah.
on his shirt before this like huge meeting or whatever.
And they
It's
make
a little
you-
bit of a spoiler, but
They
everyone's
make
good
you
now.
question like, yeah, how the hell did they come up? Because it's a great name.
It is a great
and
name.
you're like thinking, because they show up with a completely different name, and then like while they're in
And
the
the name
pitch meeting, they don't
sucks.
have a name for it. Yeah, it's terrible. And then they're, like you're just like, how the hell? Because in your mind, you're like, this never existed before. Like tech was not a space where you would have these like cutesy names for stuff like this. So like,
But it was such an
where
approachable
the
name.
hell did they get the name Blackberry? It's perfect for it. And then it's just a
It's just a stain.
And even
a
the
nice
logo,
little
or like
yeah,
you
nice
know,
little
just all
moment for
looks
it.
like a BlackBerry.
I know, it's just so, it's still iconic. I mean,
It
you
is.
can picture the little dots, like the logo, the italics, whatever in your head.
Yeah.
Well, in addition to those two lead performances, I also want to shout out Matt Johnson, who I thought was
Doug.
great in that
He was great,
supporting
too,
role,
yeah.
and who
He's
did
so
an amazing job behind the camera, writing and directing the movie.
Seriously.
That's crazy.
this
I
is-
can't imagine doing all of that at once. Like
Yep.
that's stressful.
Yep.
He's the guy, man.
But
Seriously.
he really did well too. He was hilarious.
And yeah, that like he was hilarious, and also kind of like a nudge, and then also lovable. So it's like
Yes.
he was he did it all. He really did.
Nudge.
Yeah. I don't know what else to call him. I feel like
Nudge
a
is a
nudge
good
is a
word
good
for
word
it.
for
That's a good one.
Like,
Oh, we
there's-
should, we should probably wrap up
I
here
think
soon.
so.
I'm getting a little tired.
yeah,
Same.
go see both of them.
Go see-
Blackberry is better, but
I
they're
really
both worth
love
seeing.
Blackberry.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Always Sunny guys. We had a great week at the movies thanks to them.
Yep, seriously.
Do we want to give a 1 to 10 score for Blackberry?
Give it a 9.
Okay, Bryce?
Oh God, I feel like a 9 is pretty accurate.
I'm going to go with an 8 myself.
Yeah.
But,
Okay.
hey,
Noticing a theme.
we loved it.
It was great. Thank
It was
you,
really good.
Sunny guys, for giving us a week of content.
And thank you to the Mudville listeners for tuning in for another week.
Yeah, allowing
I hope
us
more
to
fun
make
movies
content
come
for
out.
you. I know. Yeah.
We're gonna keep doing
Oh.
more new movies as they come out.
My tease. A movie that I worked on last year is coming out next week. First movie I ever worked on is releasing next week. It's with Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Oh, is it the Nicole Holof Center?
yes, the
Yeah.
Cole Holof Center movie, A24 vehicle, and I'm very excited to go watch. A bookshelf that I built be on screen. It's gonna be fun.
That's gonna
I
be
was
so
just
cool.
like excited for that movie before I remembered that you worked on it.
Yeah.
So like we're totally gonna do one on that.
Yeah, that
But-
was. It's going to be pretty good. I think from what I saw of the work and stuff.
Yeah.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus. You can't go wrong with you.
Of course,
Absolutely
she's
She's
the best.
wonderful.
And
Um,
also Tobias Menzies, who played Uncle
Rico?
No, Game of Thrones. The one who Sansa tells to sit down at the end.
That doesn't do anything.
Fair
for me.
enough. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, thank you to everybody
Either way.
for listening to the podcast. Somebody is like screaming their head off because we didn't remember that guy's name right now.
I can't. It's going to annoy me.
Thank you for listening to the podcast. Please give us 5 stars wherever it is that you listen.
Edmure Tully. There we go. Okay.
There you go.
Go ahead.
Closure.
Yep.
You can find us on Twitter at Mudville Pod. I am stuck in the coil.
That's a shame. You are.
Yeah, I'm gonna get out soon. And then Brody is at Board Guy 23.
BORDGUY.
And I don't use Twitter.
Yeah, Bryce,
Bryce does not use Twitter.
Sorry.
But Bryce, thank you so
Good
much
for
for being
you.
here.
Thanks for having us.
We-
I like
Thanks
the
for being
pod.
on the
We
pod.
needed a girl. It was starting to get a little sus.
Yeah, exactly. It was time.
It was a good movie week for us. Guys.
Yeah, we
Was.
had a great time, and we hope you guys enjoyed listening. Happy Friday.
We'll see you next week.
Happy Friday.